Welcome to yet another edition of the Game of Life. And this today is actually the Game of Life because the gentleman in studio is not just an athlete, he actually is a community psychologist. A midfielder with URA, he's played at Bull, Wakiso Giants, other stints in some of the lower divisions, but the impact he's having on the community goes way beyond the game. In studio, the one and only, a towering midfield enforcer, sometimes happens to be in defense. Also, he's played and represented Uganda at the that's Afcon, beach soccer.
Yes.
Joshua Lubwama. Welcome to the Game of Life.
Thank you so much. And
welcome again. Joshua, what an amazing time to have you, because when I was driving here, I was listening to a show on radio, and it was about how parents, are dealing with, people with autism, but also there was community, psychology, and people, mental health issues. And to have an athlete in Uganda plays football, but he also has a degree in community psychology. I think that's quite, I don't know how much you know about it being powerful, but it's quite a powerful skill and level of knowledge to have. So for that, and we're playing the Game of Life.
You're honestly playing the Game of Life.
I'm very happy and honored to have you, and I'm looking forward to a very good conversation.
And thanks very much, Andrew, once again, also for having me. It's indeed a pleasure. I can't just wait to get started.
We had you on TV the other day on our program, and after that program, I was like, I need him on the podcast. And we made it a point.
Yeah.
And you also confirmed, and finally, you are here. So let's get it started. Okay. Joshua Lubwama, you are a midfielder. How did you get into the game? Because the psychology comes in later. I just want to know, did you set out to go to school and play the game of football?
Yeah. How I got to play football first, like I've always said, that I had a very supportive family.
Yeah.
That's the very first thing I'm supposed to speak about before actually my entire journey of playing football. I remember in my primary school, that was in Luwero. Yeah, it's called African Outreach Academy, commonly known as Ambassadors of Hope. Yeah, it was a really amazing school, and then I remember I was very small, very, very small, and everybody would think that I wouldn't even kick a ball. To some, they would think that even a ball would hit me down, like by somebody passing a ball to me, that I would even fall down. So I was weak to that extent. Speak about my physical structure. I was like a small boy. But then we had I think a games teacher in Mr. Ganila Christopher. Then he told me that, you know what, if your brother can play, surely, but then actually my elder brother Hannington also was in the same school.
Hannington.
Sebwalunyo. Yeah, the NEC FC goalkeeper.
NEC goalkeeper.
Yes.
Who beat you the other day?
Sure.
Yeah. Yes.
So he was in the same school. And so the fact that we are siblings. So this guy tells me that, Hannington, hey, I understand your brother likes kicking this ball. I really think that is also good like you are, because Hannington was really good. And then he was playing number 11 and 3, I guess, yes. So in the event, I was given a chance to just play with the ball, like on the school pitch. And then before I got to know, I was playing. That's how, that was in Luwero. So that's how I started, just in school. And then after that, by then we had an academy in Luwero Kids League. That was the name to that academy. And it was actually founded by the late manager, Chizindo Salim. Yeah. But then we would compete with KKL, we would compete with MTN, we would compete with a couple of academies like around the country. And so through the Luwero Kids League, it gave me an exposure, and through that exposure, it's when I actually loved playing the game of football, because through that academy, I had an opportunity to go like out of the country, and that was in Nairobi, Kenya. And a very little boy telling me that you're going to go because we used the bus, and so to the old people that had gone to Kenya, they would tell us their Rift Valleys. So, and of course we knew about Rift Valleys in class. So I was like, how is this thing actually going to even look like? I mean, I'd never visited even game parks. The best place I'd been to was a zoo, and there were quite a few animals in the zoo. But then these people tell us that in the game parks you see quite a number of animals. So it was really something big, like in my sight, and the fact that it was through the game of football, taking us there without paying even a single penny, but just after choosing us out of quite a number of people to go and represent the Luwero Kids League. Yeah, so that gave me so much of momentum, and then the motivation in there for me to keep pushing. And then before I got to know, I enjoyed the sport. Even high school, I played on the school team.
Which high school is that?
That's in DJSS.
DJSS,
yeah, from Form 1. I was on the school team from Form 1. Yeah, so I enjoyed the game. And then I got to even make a name actually in school, because my hobbies and OGs, I'm famously known as Song. For the Ndeje, Alexander Song, being an Arsenal fan,
Yes.
And then they told me the reason as to why they gave me that name Song. It was on the fact that I was playing like him. I was a bit rough as well as having a flair. So they would think I'm Song, Alexander Song. So before I knew it, the name actually grew, and each and every OB and OG of mine at Ndeje, they famously know me as Song. So you can shout in your Joshuas, your Lubwamas, and
people know Alex Song.
They know Song belong. So, and on actually also hearing somebody saying Song on turning,
they know you.
They know. I just understand this is my OB or my OG. So that's how my footballing journey started. And so by the grace of God, I'm right here at this level, representing the country in the top flight league. And it all started from merely just kicking a ball, and for somebody just teasing me for not being in the best maybe body shape to kick a ball. So from that day on, I love criticism. I like people that don't believe in me, because at least even at the very start of playing this ball, somebody didn't believe in me. So I started kicking that ball to disprove somebody. And so this has been my way of doing things. I just love environments whereby people don't believe in me, so that I surprise them by showing them that yes, I'm really up there.
Have you taken any speaking lessons?
Not really. I haven't taken any speaking lessons, but maybe going through the ranks, school, they would teach us. Of course we would debate, like schools, you debate and all those things. And I was actually a leader prefect, so there was no way of how you wouldn't maybe speak on an assembly and those things. So maybe having gathered a little bit of experience in those aspects, that's how I developed maybe my ways of speaking and all those things.
And being an athlete, I think that's a talent you need to hone more.
Okay.
Speaking engagements.
Okay.
I'm happy you're already doing it the other side of the of the community impact, but it's you articulate well.
Thank you.
And I think that's a skill that will help you long after you're done with the game. You finish you do both your O-level and A-level at Ndeje.
Yes.
And you're playing football at this time. Are your parents happy with your playing football?
Yes, actually right now they are.
No, at the time.
At the time then?
Yes.
Were
they happy that your football was also taking your time?
No, actually my parents, I remember, Mommy, I understand you'll watch this. Daddy, I understand you'll watch this. And I want to let actually the entire world know that Mommy, Daddy, at some point, I'm also Mommy. She never wanted me to actually kick a ball. She would tell me, you know what? A football is going to waste a lot of your time. You're not going to concentrate on studying, so you'll get poor grades. So I remember I also had opportunities after my P7. Schools like Kitende, Budo SS, Chibuli, they had all come for me, to go for a bursary. But then Mommy comes in for me, says, Daddy, that you know what? our child. Actually, I remember she spoke this in Uganda. Mukama Katonda mwebaza omwana wange tukyesobola tugenda kumuweerera.
That's dad.
That's mom.
That's mom.
Yeah.
For our non-Luganda speakers.
And for maybe for them, she had literally confirmed, and then she was saying that by the grace of God, she really honors God that she has all I think
the means
to continue maybe supporting me and then raising my school fees. So I can't maybe go to any footballing schools because she thought I would only concentrate on playing football rather than studies. So along the line, my entire high school, because quite a number of people actually think that I've even had a stint at the Coca-Cola, maybe the national competitions, but truth be told, and I'm breaking this at the Game of Life podcast. I have no minute actually in Coca-Cola Nationals because I remember in JSS then we didn't qualify, and I remember the 2 times that we qualified when I was there. I was still like a kid. I was in Form 1 and I wasn't good enough to compete on the senior school team. So I didn't get that chance of playing maybe then. I didn't have a minute at Coca-Cola, but then, yeah, here we are by the grace of God competing with the people that I've had trophies, Coca-Cola trophies, East Africa and all those things. So honestly, you can't assure me that the Lord ain't good.
Okay.
On my side, because I'm here and very proud.
Awesome.
Yeah.
From Undeji, when do you join Wakiso Giants? Is it Wakiso Giants first or Bull?
No, Bull was first. Bull was my very first team to play for in the top flight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where did Bull find you?
Bull found me in Masaza because I also played Masaza. Okay. Yeah, I played Masaza.
Which clan?
I played
sorry,
Gomba,
which
Saza. I played
Saza?
for Bulemezi. Yes. That Saza where I come from, Bulemezi. It was the very first one that I played for. And then after Bulemezi, I played for Gomba. And then, from Gomba straight up, a Bull picked me after the finals. Yeah, we won that trophy. And then, after the finals in Nambole, the following morning, still my brother was at Bull, Huntington. So, I mean, there is something that has been happening in our careers with him. I realized that for all the teams that he's been at, I tend to follow him and then he leaves me there. Yes, this has happened at Bull. It happened at URA. So after that final, Huntington gives me a call the following morning that, you know what, Joshua? Yeah, these guys at Bull are on my case. They want you in Ginger. Yeah, how do you see? I told him, you know what? I have no agent. I have no manager. You're my agent now. How is that deal?
How is that deal? Yes.
Yeah, because he's been there. He's playing for the team. So he tells me, you know what, Joshua, for the start, these guys have this salary. They don't have sign-on fees, but at least they have a settlement fee. Trust me, you're just going to graduate. This will be good enough for you. Just know a couple of your friends that are graduating. It's going to be even hard for them to get jobs just like that. But then a job is just here. A contract is here on your table even before graduating. Hey, bro, just come and we work. So, I was convinced by him. Yeah. And by then, I mean, what they had tabled wasn't really bad. Yeah, so I chose to join Bull. Just like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It pays to have people in higher places.
Sure.
Hey, so you go to Bull when you are still at campus.
Yes.
Had you...
When I was in my final year.
Final year. Okay. And then...
after Bull, actually at Bull...
How many years did you play at Bull?
I'd signed for 2 years at Bull.
Yeah.
But in my very first year...
Yes.
It's when I got this terrible career-threatening injury. Yeah. So I broke my left shin bone, and it was again, and it was in a friendly game. I remember I had just played Ndeje University a day before in the league, and then Bull had a culture or like a policy, because after a league game, the following morning, to those that haven't played from the 75th minute, they have a friendly to try to catch up with the match fitness with the guys that have played.
The ones who didn't play up to the 75th minute.
Yes.
For example, if you came on
Yeah.
after 75th, or if you got off in the early second half, you have to play
You have
that
to play the following morning so that
Okay.
you're up to speed with
With
match
the rest,
fitness with the
yeah.
rest. So I was among those people because, like I've told you, it was my very first season, still catching up with the league. So I used to have a few minutes, like the coach would blend in a few minutes, and so then I remember that game I was brought on, and like I think it was on the 20th minute, a colleague of ours got injured, and then coach introduced me, like on the 20th minute of first half. So I come on, played, and then from that basis that I've explained, I was not a fit to play for, like to play in that friendly. But then coach, by then it was Coach Onen. Coach Onen told me, Joshua, you know what? You're still a young man, so energetic.
you can take this one
no,
as well.
just take this one as well. So I was like, no, I can't say no to a coach. I mean, he knows whatsoever he's doing. So yeah, I had to take it in and then go enjoy. And honestly, I'd enjoyed. And he had told me that I was going to enjoy for only first half, and then I get out, I do ice, and then we stretch. Go for like an ice bath and then stretch. But so I was so unfortunate that around I think it was in around the 37th minute of the first half of that friendly game. Yeah, it's when I collided with the opponent, and then I had a fracture on my left shin bone.
Fracture.
Yeah, and it was a bit. It wasn't that simple
Left
because
bone.
left shin bone.
Left shin bone.
Yeah, so I don't want to say it was a simple one because the bone, in a way, it pricked the skin, and so you would see at least like a wound and then some blood coming. But yeah, it was terrible, and I remember the very words that I shouted after that incident were like, I've become an ex-international at an early age. It was so emotional because this was something that I was doing with all my heart. Yes, I understand I had studied, I was in my final year and almost graduating, but then this is something that I had chosen to play like for my whole life. And this is something that I was always yearning to do. But remember, I had a loop there when my parents stopped the other footballing schools from maybe acquiring my services. So I started making flashbacks of all those things and then saying, maybe I have no blessing in this career. After all, maybe mom, dad, they were not so much vying for it. But then later, on of course that event happening, of course I was rushed to Ripon Hospital in Jinja, and then all the procedures were done, the x-ray and all those things, and then they had to apply the POP plaster, that white embodied thing that they put on people that have broken their legs. So I also got clutches. I mean, it was another life to live. When I was so injured and of course emotionally drained and all, thinking that yes, this has come to an end. I highly doubt in Uganda somebody breaks and then gets back to play competitively. Like that wasn't running in my mind. So I'd called it quits and thinking that, hey, maybe let me look into other fields and then concentrate on maybe other careers because this is gone.
How long were you out?
For a full year and 2 months.
Full year?
Yeah, a year and 2 months. So I remember when my parents learning that I'd broken the leg, I remember my mom cried. And it was so emotional on my side. And seeing my mom cry just because of me, first, before my sight, I took it in thinking that I've made mom cry.
You were guilty because she didn't want you to play football.
She didn't want me to play football.
Then you went ahead to
and
play
then
it,
I
and
went
now
ahead
you've
to
broken
play,
your leg.
and now I've broken my leg.
Yeah.
So you see, I love my mom so much. I love my parents so much. So, and then a child making a parent cry, I mean, for us in Uganda, it is not something nice. You understand? So, but little had I known that mom wasn't crying just for my sake that I broke the leg. But then maybe like a parent that said bye to their son and is going to face the world and then is coming back on clutches. So to any parent, that would get him or her emotional. But maybe she never wanted to show me that she did cry, but then I saw her. But then that is one thing that hit me so much. Not until she opened up and disclosed this to me that, hey, my son, I wasn't crying because you hurt me. I cried just because I felt so emotional. I saw my child coming back on clutches. So, to some extent, I got some relief that, yes, okay, I didn't hurt my parents. But then still, this a bit got back to me because there are moments, of course, however much I was injured, I would see myself on clutches, then to watch people, like on our village pitches, people playing, because you would get bored at home. And so at least I was like, let me just get the pitch and watch people play. But I remember on me going to those pitches, I would see my tears just
Yeah.
dropping off my eyes.
Doing what you want to do, but you can't.
I mean, I can't.
Yeah.
And then you would see somebody who you think that you're better than them, you see enjoying themselves, and then you're in clutches. So psychologically, I was so drained as a person. But then I thank my family, honestly, because me, I put God first. And I think I put family second. Because family has honestly been there for me. They supported me financially, emotionally, and
During this time, you're not getting paid.
You're
not
no.
getting paid.
I also want to thank honestly Bull FC.
Okay.
Because during that time, because you hear of so many stories of players that get injured and then they don't pay them, they don't at times compensate them. But trust me, Bull, each and everything that I was meant to get,
You
as
got.
per the contract, I got
For a full year.
for a full year. And mind you, they also pushed 2 extra months after I'd actually left.
Wow.
You know, so
Bull FC, man.
yeah, they honestly did that. So
Yeah.
I don't want to be maybe a bad person to ill talk about that, but the truth is that those people supported me. Because I also strongly believe that if at all I also had issues to do with the finances, it would even make the situation even worse, because I was just imagining I'm injured and then maybe my contract has been maybe put down or cancelled. It would actually bring about quite a number of
Yeah.
issues. But then those people stood by their word. They supported me, and actually they would check on me weekly. Like you would receive a call from the doctor. How are you catching up? How are you faring? Have you taken your tabs? Have you done this? I mean, they were literally supporting me emotionally, psychologically, and then like I spoke about the financial aspect. They would also give me my salary. If the team wins, they would push in my bonuses and all those things. So I give credit to Bull and I commend them so much for having done all that during that hard time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you get to Wakiso Giants?
To Wakiso Giants after Bull, I remember when I was recovering on my verge of recovering, I remember they switched a coach, and then Coach Onen left. And remember, I got that injury like on Coach Onen's reign. And then after, as I was recovering, then they switched. They brought in another coach.
Abe?
No, that wasn't Coach Abe. That was Coach Arthur.
Okay.
Coach Arthur came in, and then he gave me an honest opinion. He told me, Joshua, you know what? I'm not so sure that you fully recovered. So what we do, you're going to keep around, but then I'm not going to register you among the licensed players. So you're just going to be training as we assess you. But then, as a player, now this got back to me. Because I remember after that very given time of rehabilitation, all the x-rays showed that I had fully recovered, and the doctors had also given me a green light that, yes, you know what, you're now fully recovered, go for rehab, and then see yourself back playing. And I'd gotten through that time properly. Like I told you that through Mr. Nswemo Godfrey, he was a wonderful physio. He did support me as well in all ways. Yeah, so a guy did a very wonderful job. I wasn't hearing any pains and all those things. I was feeling my body's back and okay, and ready to compete. But then maybe coach saw to it that I wasn't very ready, and then that he wouldn't register me as a licensed player. So what I decided, of course, with a very small support system that I had then, from friends, because by then I never had any management. Yeah, so they told me, Joshua, you know what? There's no way you're going to understand or feel that you're fully recovered without at least competing. Like you've trained, but now there is need for you to compete. And how are you going to compete? It is through playing a match, not just a friendly game, not just trainings over these drills of let's say 11 aside or small-sided games. No, but there is need to compete in a competitive game, so that at least you weigh yourself of how better you're progressing or not. So I brought in a suggestion to them. I told them, hey, you know what? I understand my contract is almost, because by then it was left with 6 months. Yeah. So I told them I can't just keep here as a training player without competing in any games. So why don't I request for a loan, maybe to a lower side, like a lower division side, so that I get some playing time for me to get like a confirmatory test that yes, you know what, I'm now okay and I can play once again. So the coach said no. Still, you can't go for the loan. You have to keep here. So okay, to me, I felt like, you know what, maybe coach is now playing games. No, let me just take this decision and then push it forward to management, because at least I understood, I knew my rights as a player, that yes, I have to explain to the coach, and then after I push it forward. And it's what I did. I went to management, I requested, of course I had to bring in each and everything like I've explained here. And so the management were like, okay, we are sending you loan on loan, like on condition that when your contract expires, we are the first people you're considering. Then I told them that's okay. So we wrote an agreement down with them. So they accepted my loan move to Ndeje University.
For loan.
Yeah, for loan.
And from there you went to your current home.
Yes. So I went to Ndeje University. I played 2 games. By then it was in the big league. Played just 2 games and then COVID hit. Yeah, after COVID, of course, there was a lockdown. And then in the first phase of them, maybe that's bringing down the lockdown. I remember the league. I think you recall that league.
The league paused.
Yeah, the league paused a bit.
Express won it.
Yeah. And then they waited for some time. And then later, we had to resume, whereby we never had fans. I think you remember that league. So it's in that league that I went to Wakiso Giants. And then I was blessed that by then I had worked with Coach Douglas Bamoyana at Makerere University. Yes, so, and he used to like how I play. And so some week I read on the news that, yes, he had gone to Wakiso Giants. And so I was thinking that, honestly, I didn't call him. But then, like, I had some instincts that I never know coach might look out for me. Yeah, and this happened. Coach called me. And then he told me that, you know what, Joshua, you come and you revive your glory at Wakiso Giants. I understand you. I know your capabilities. I understand you got that injury, but trust me, people heal, come back, they step up, and then they make it after. And man, the guy was like, I think he was like a prophet then. I went to Wakiso Giants, signed for 3 years. He told me as I was signing that, you know what, Joshua, the very first season, this entire world is going to understand that you're back. The second season, you're not going to finish that season. You'll make a move. And hey, that was it. After the first season, I remember scoring in a few goals there in Wakiso. Second season, I played just halfway. URA came, and here we are, 4 years down the road at URA.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love the prophetic story from Wakiso to URA.
Sure.
Which coach was in charge at URA when you joined?
When I joined was the late coach Sam Timbe.
Oh, Sam Timbe, yes. Okay.
Yeah, may his soul rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was such a good man.
He was a father
Yeah, he
to
was.
players.
Yeah, he ushered us in well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the 4 years at URA, how is it going?
Not bad, honestly. Yeah. However, we haven't had the very best this season, but then we are still hopeful because we have 8 games to go in the league, and then we are semi-finalists on the Uganda Cup. Yeah, we still have quite a lot to fight for this season. However much, so many people, yeah, they're not actually counting us on anything. But hey, it's them. But for us, we strongly believe that we have quite a lot to fight for. Yeah.
Who scored the goal that beat you recently?
That was Huntington.
Please say it.
Yeah, it was Huntington.
His brother, a goalkeeper at Neck,
Hey.
scored the winning penalty as Neck beat URA.
Yeah.
Did you celebrate with him?
I couldn't.
At the,
Come on, I couldn't.
at the end of the game, what did you chat?
You see, the beauty with the game of football is that your rivals on the pitch,
Yeah.
but then after, your brothers. Yeah, and honestly, shout out Huntington. I love you, man. He's been really a wonderful brother.
Yeah.
And not only my elder brother, but yeah, he's been a mentor. Yeah, he's guided me. Yeah, man, I love him so much. So it was really heartbreaking him scoring us, but then that's the game of football. Yeah.
How long do you see yourself playing football?
Yeah, I think I'm not so much left with quite a number of years. Yeah. I know I
4
can't.
years, 3
no,
years,
not
5
4.
years,
Not, I think around 5 or more.
5 or more.
Yeah,
Do you intend to push for the national team call-up in?
definitely. Of course, definitely. I'm still vying for that, and I have to achieve it. Trust me. Yeah, of course, by the grace of God. But yeah, I'm not so far away from achieving it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk beach soccer. You're a man of so many traits. So you have represented Uganda
Yeah.
at Afcon beach soccer.
Yeah. Actually, beach soccer, I'm a defender. Speaking about 11 aside, we have number 2s or roving right backs. So a beach soccer, I play in such a way. I'm like a roving right back.
A marauding right back.
Yeah, surely, because it's a game played out of 5. So there are systems actually also in it. At times you play a 2-1-2, a 2-1-1, and all those things. But then in those two,
So guide us. Beach soccer, do you have defense, midfield, strikers?
No, you have defense and forward.
Defense and forward.
Yeah, defense and forward.
Okay.
So you just blend in there, basing on a given, let me say, system, all formation per se. Yeah, so you can say, let's have one to stand in the middle as a midfielder, that's 11 aside, and then the 2 standing in as defenders, and then 1 forward.
So the midfield, you have only one in the midfield.
Yeah, basing on the formation or
The
system that
formation.
you want to play, because there is a 2-2, whereby there are 2 defenders and then 2 forwards.
Okay.
There is a 2-1-1, whereby there are 2 defenders,
So one midfielder,
one midfielder, and then 1 forward.
and 1 forward.
Yeah, because
Okay.
like it's a very high intensity game and it's end to end. So it's not so much of like 11 aside, whereby you're even going to take time off and then walk around. No way.
So how do
Because,
you play football and beach soccer? At the
literally, it's all football. Honestly, the
Yeah.
only difference is that this is played on the sand,
Yes.
and this is played on the grass.
Don't they collide in terms of
The-
fixtures and schedule?
Not really. Not really. They haven't collided, and I think it's because they're under one ruling body, and that's
So the
FIFA.
calendar is, yeah.
The calendar is well structured, and then there is no way both competitions can collide.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's the highest you've done for the country, at least.
Yeah, at least,
in terms
yes.
of your sports.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do a little drifts of gears and go to the Lubwama, the psychologist.
Yeah, sure.
When you were at university, you took a very, I don't want to call it strange as compared to what you are doing on the
It's
pitch.
indeed strange because
Did you? How did you end up doing community psychology?
I remember when I was still a young man, my parents used to tell me that I'm somebody that was so much caring. I'm somebody that used to love counseling people. I'm somebody that used to love giving people advice. And this was from my mom.
Mm.
And then she tells me that, hey, son, that could be your calling. And so growing up, I was always meditating and thinking so much about those words.
Mm.
I would always consider them in each and everything that I do. Because I understand I was to do education at university. But then I requested my parents and I told them that, you know what? This course, to me, I can't
You didn't see
see
yourself as a
myself.
teacher?
However much, by the way, mom is a teacher.
Okay.
Mom is a teacher.
Mm.
Yeah. And then, like, you know, teachers, at least maybe she would want at least one of their children to also be teachers.
Mm.
And then deep down my head, I was like, it can't be me. And you know, I was the last born. So
of how many siblings?
Of 4.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm the last born. All of them haven't studied education. So there's
You
no
can't.
way I can be the last born and then the teacher.
Yes.
So I requested my parents to at least lend me a hand and then to see to it that they help me pay on private a course that I had wanted with all my life. Because I learned of community psychology. At Ndeje SS, we would have career days whereby you would meet the careers master and then you speak for whatsoever that you want to tell him in regards to career development, the courses you want to offer at university, and what they do. For example, if at all I've studied this, who you become, and all those things. So I remember telling our careers master, by then he was Mr. Kakembo, and then told him, hey, Mr. Kakembo, my mom once told me this, that I can give people advice, all those things, what. So I want to consider that because she told me it was my calling. She thinks it's my calling. So he brought in some book and then he outlined the courses. He told me, when you study this course, you turn out to be this and this and this and this. This person does this. So I was like, first, I was intrigued by the word psych. Psych, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, psych. I told him, Mr. Kakembo, what does psych mean? He tells me, it is simply your mind. I was like, wow, I'm loving the word psych. So somebody that maybe guides people on their well-being, their mental well-being, who is that person? He tells me, a psychologist. Psychologist. Then I told him, you know what, Mr. Kakembo? As I was filling in my job forms, I told him, Mr. Kakembo, if this is not allowed, can I, is it in order for me to just fill in one course? Like on my job forms, community psychology, and then leave the rest. And then the guy tells me, no, it's a policy that you also have to fill in other courses. Like the 3, it will be upon the university and the points that you've raised, that you'll get that given course. Remember? Yeah, I studied. Yay. And then I got the course.
You actually had
Yes.
career guidance.
Yes, I had career guidance. And so...
And it's not a course that you chose because you failed to get others.
No.
You actually set out
I would opt for law.
for it.
I would opt for a Duke, like I've told you. I would opt for quite a number of courses. And also remember, I would go to MOOBs even, do business courses. But then this was straight from my mother's mouth, that it is my calling. And then I prayed over it, and I was like, hey, God, if this is my calling, because the Bible tells us that our parents, I can better phrase it in Uganda, nti be bakatonda b'oku nsi. So lwaki noonyaayo ate ekirala kyesiraba nga ate Katonda yennyini yaŋŋamba nti be bakatonda b'oku nsi. So for whatsoever thing that they declare, I strongly believe that will come to pass. So I had to be like, God, if my mom declared this, let it be. And I was like, amen. And then here we
Psychologist.
are. Yeah.
Amazing.
Here we are. Lubwama Joshua, the community psychologist.
And when did you graduate?
2019.
Good stuff, my man. And you come in an area where psych is important.
Sure.
The mind is important. The mental. It's an area where there's pressure
Yeah.
to win, succeed, fear of failure. Literally, your mind is on the move. We have athletes who perhaps think they're normal, but maybe they are not. And I remember in our chat, we were talking about mental health. If one doesn't take a particular attention, when you say mental health, like someone is mental, they think mulalu. In simple terms, what is mental health?
Like you said, in simple terms, mental health, it is simply the mental well-being of an individual. You see, something that confuses people most, and I had to echo this at the other time, and I want to re-echo it. You see, for every person that has a mind, or for every person that has a brain, they have mental health. Yeah, mental health is not the problem.
Mental health is not a disease.
It is not a disease.
It's a state
It is
of
simply a state of like the mental well-being of
someone.
someone.
So what is the
Simply
problem?
that. So the problem is a mental disorder. That's the problem.
Okay.
Because there is mental unwellness, there is a mental illness. And so
What's the difference?
The difference is if you're mentally unwell, I mean, you haven't gone to a doctor and then diagnosed, taken you through the procedures, assessed you to confirm that you're having, allow me call it a disease or a disorder. But if you're mentally unwell, by you being just simply stressed, something is bothering you. That puts you in a state that you're mentally unwell. And it is not a problem.
So it's not an illness.
It's not an illness. Being mentally unwell, it's not an illness.
Okay.
But it's just a condition.
And almost every one of us.
Of course.
That's-
Because if I'm to give a proper, maybe a clearer description of a mental illness, that it is like a range of what? Like it's, allow me to just say that it's like a composition of conditions that affects one's thinking, like that affects the way one thinks, behaves, and all those things. You see? And then if you cannot, and if you cannot run your day-to-day life activities normally, then there's a problem.
Is that mental unwellness or mental illness?
Now this is mental illness. And this is a trigger.
So break it down. If I cannot run my activities the way I do every day, let's give some examples, live examples.
Some live examples of your daily day-to-day life activities could be, on a normal day, we wake up. You wake up, we have different routines. As Joshua, I wake up, I pray, I activate my body. How do I activate my body? I can make 10 push-ups, I can make maybe 10 sit-ups just to activate my body that, hey, I'm making you ready. I have training this morning. Just activating my body. I go brush my teeth, I shower, take tea, then go for work. That's on a normal day. So now if at all, maybe the following day, I cannot run through that routine normally, there is a problem. There is a problem. It is just a simple trigger showing you that, hey, Joshua, you're unwell. You're mentally unwell.
You know what?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm mental unwell. Because, and this could be for everyone who is watching.
Yeah.
Keeping routine is one hell of a discipline.
Yeah.
So if you begin going astray from the routine, it's a reminder that
it's a trigger.
You need to check yourself.
Yeah.
So it's a step towards the potential mental illness.
Yes.
So this one is to tell you, hey, you're stressed, perhaps you need to do this, you need to recover yourself.
Yes, because after taking yourself through that day, which is not normal, in a state where when you're unwell mentally, before you know it, you're going to start isolating yourself.
So if I forget to brush my teeth, then
No, you're going to forget brushing your teeth. And then let's say I give an example. You've gone for work,
okay.
and of course, you're not having the very best of like breath, like a normal breath that you've been having on a normal. Trust me, somebody who is your friend might be strong enough to tell you that, hey, Joshua, maybe your breath is not proper. Are you okay? This is somebody that is good. They'll be like, are you okay? Then you'll try maybe explaining.
The first thing is you'll be defensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yes, I'm okay. You grab a PK, you grab what to try to bring about that you're okay and all those things, but yet you're not really okay. But then before you know it, you'll start getting angry. And remember, this happens at the extreme.
Yeah.
You'll get extreme anger from nowhere. Then you're going to start displacing this anger or your issues. You're going to displace this up to work. Let's say you had a fight with your wife, and then you're going to push it up to the workplace. You're going to be sad. However much they make anything funny, you don't even laugh, Before you know it, you're going to isolate yourself. You'll sit in a corner, sit alone, isolate yourself. You get irritable and all those things. Before you know it, depression hits in. And before you know it, before you maybe accept, and remember the various maybe stages of depression, you'll bargain in there, you'll get angry. And then when you get to the acceptance stage, and for you to accept and you're like, hey, Joshua, you know what? Yes, I've now accepted I'm not okay. Let me maybe opt for seeking help. Then maybe I reach out to my friend Andrew, and I'm like, Andrew, you know what? I think I have a problem. This and this has been happening. We've been fighting with my wife, but I haven't been disclosing this. I have a feeling you should help me out. So like I said, if Andrew is a job guy and not maybe strong enough to handle that, he might refer you to maybe
Someone
a counselor or to render professional support. But if that doesn't happen, you haven't accepted, trust me, depression is going to hit you. And then before you know it, it is going to be literally hard for you to get yourself off that ditch. Yeah.
And talking depression and all the symptoms and signs you're talking about, you are at your club, you are with your friends, pressure game, and I mean the season you're having, I'm sure the results on the table show that there's some pressure. Do your colleagues at work, and I mean you are a football club, do they know that you actually are a psychologist, that you could actually help them?
I honestly, yeah, some of them know. Some of them know, and of late actually they are calling me mental health. And
Yes.
secondly, most of them are calling me Boo Boo. Of late, I think.
Boo Boo. Yes.
The previous interview that we had
Yes.
at NTV.
Yes.
And then all of them are jokingly calling me Boo Boo. But then maybe back to what you're from phrasing is that these people, allow me say that they don't take it that serious. But I think I don't want to blame them. But I think this is due to the fact that I'm their colleague, I'm their workmate, I'm their teammate. So them taking me so seriously, it's a little bit challenging to them. But however, me as a person, the fact that I'm a professional in that field, there is a way I play my cards right. Like in maybe trying to help them out. At times I don't come direct, maybe to them. At times I pass a bit far, maybe I inquire from the friends and all those things. But then, it is really sad because you can literally see, because you can literally assess and see that some people honestly have some issues, but then due to the environment and with the way they are seeing you as just a colleague, as just a teammate. And what hurts most is that you end up maybe helping out players from other clubs, and then you haven't honestly helped those that you play with. I'm saying this in quotes that I haven't helped those that I've played with. However, like I said, I try to help them, but not at the at the front line. But then I would really maybe be proud. Maybe them changing that mindset. Yeah, because I mean, you're having a professional right there, but then you can't make a better use of him.
Maybe
So
maybe the club themselves, for example, the club, the authority, of course, the board is different, but the appointing authority or even the coaches, are they aware of your capabilities beyond the game?
yes, they are, but and still they also support in a way. But I think the only challenge is I'm still an active a player.
So they want you to focus on the
trying them devising dividing that time. Maybe there are moments when I'm needed as a full-time player to train and to do each and everything that any other player that is doing. So it is a bit tricky, the fact that I'm still an active player. Maybe along the way, when we retire, then they can maybe think of maybe considering me as staff. Maybe yes, in that line. But for now, I can't honestly blame them due to the different schedules, because professionally it's a little bit challenging. Maybe having two professions in like one person, and moreover in the same company or in the same team, a player and then as technical staff. I
hear you.
It could be a little easy, maybe being a coach player. That could be a bit easy, but then this is entirely even an office or heading a given department on the team, so it's a bit tricky. Maybe that could call for a time when I'm fully retired, and then maybe they would consider me in that line. But for now, I can't honestly blame them that much.
But you're open to players.
Definitely.
Maybe you can address the players at not just URA. All footballers and athletes.
Yes.
You can clearly talk to them right now.
Yes.
And tell them perhaps if they have issues, how you're ready to support.
Yes, definitely. And like it has always been my humble cry to my fellow athletes that yes, me as Joshua, I might not have rendered maybe these services to you, but hey, I have a very big number of different professionals that I studied with that are in this line. So I might be like a blocker to you. I could refer you to any other colleague of mine that is honestly pursuing that as a career as of now. And the fact that me, as I'm still an active athlete, the best thing I can do for you now is that maybe talk to you. That's if you confide in me. But then if you don't, still, I can push this with confidentiality, and then I refer you to another professional who is authentic and that can render you the support that you really want. So the issue is in not maybe looking out for Joshua to maybe speak to Joshua alone. But then Joshua can guide you on who is professional and who is not, because even in our field, there are mafias in there. There are people that are calling themselves psychologists, yet they are not. There are people that are calling themselves professionals, yet they are not. So to a layman who doesn't know, might fall in the trap. You might fall into somebody that ain't professional, person that doesn't have the qualifications to maybe render that support or to offer that service. But then maybe reaching out to me, I could easily guide you on the people that are right to give you that support that you really want. So it is
have you been approached by some of your colleagues?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. And this has happened so much with the junior players.
Okay.
Yeah, at the team. Yes, you see, for the senior players, it's a bit tricky in a way. But however, there are some that have reached out, honestly. But it's not even right. Maybe sharing their names for now. But then there are quite a number, right? Like 5 of the senior players have reached out with very, very, very strong issues. In line with mental health. And then by the grace of God, these people have been helped. Yes, I tend to refer them to my other colleagues, and yeah, they confirm that they have received the health, like the help that they need, honestly.
What are some of the challenges, without naming their names, that they've confided in you?
Uh, one was to do with grief and bereavement. I remember one of the colleagues lost their dear ones, and then with after them narrating to me all this, they disclosed to me how important that person was to them, and then how much they felt this world was no longer useful to them, how much they felt that playing soccer alone is now meaningless without maybe their dear one. And they had started developing feelings of this world is no longer nice anymore. And so these are all triggers of somebody that is maybe vying to either misuse a drug or to commit suicide. So this person before, as we were talking and conversing, trying to normalize the talk, this person later tells me that, do you know, I had also attempted to commit suicide, you know?
Wow.
But then this is a player that you're expecting to perform on the pitch. And this is a player, before maybe he comes and then opens up and then he speaks up, it is hard for you to realize. But rather instead, you're going to be like, hey, as Joshua's form is now so down. But you don't know what is running through his head. You don't know what he's thinking about and all those things. But I remember I referred him to a colleague, and then they talked to him. And then, like I said, by the grace of God, this person started realizing that, hey, however much you've lost the dear one, but this world is still there for you. You can do better even without the dear one. Please get over it. Think about life. Yeah, just be intentional. At least you just must share a picture that you're doing this
For them.
in honor of your dear one.
Yeah.
I mean, they started seeing this world in a different way. And then before we got to know it, that this person got way better. And now they're enjoying themselves as of now. Yeah.
Have you heard of complaints from players who perhaps are struggling because maybe they've been exploited and they cannot come close? Because we know in our system, some players are exploited or forced to do certain things, and yet you have to deal with it as a player. Have you had some of those?
I guess you have. But then I was glad this person was not on our team, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, this person was from Steed. It was a UPL club.
Okay.
And then this person had I remember even sharing this story on the other show that we had. This person had signed 35 million Uganda shillings as sign-on fees.
Okay.
And then I don't know how they negotiated, but then this person tells us that, you know what? I signed 35 million, but you know, I'm going to get 8 million out of that 35. I mean,
But officially communicated 35.
35, speak about the news. Hey, Joshua's signed for 35 million, you know, those things.
You got
And
on
you
the
know,
8.
people are so much expectant. If Joshua signed 35 million, what is he going to show us? Has he bought land? Has he bought a car? Has he bought what? But yet in reality, this person is receiving 8 million. You understand? So this guy comes to me. He's like, I don't want to disclose the person, all those things. But then I really don't know, but how best can you help me? So what I did, of course, in my means, I told him, you know what? I'm an active player. And there's not so much I can do for you. But the best I can do for you is that I can refer you to somebody, and then this person might be of help in regards to your issue. And like I said, I referred them to that person, and in a way, that person liaised with the management of that team. And then still by the grace of God, the guy claimed his money, and yeah, the guy got back his money. Yeah.
Good job.
So yeah, and like, you know, at times these, I'm not going to say that we do them behind curtains, but for most of the things are not allowed so much to so much expose them, all those things due to some given reasons, because by me maybe mentioning the different players or what. Of course, definitely to the people that do those things, at times they get to know that, hey, now they are talking about me. It's only that they're not mentioning my name, but then it is something that should be stopped because it is not
Yeah.
proper for the mental being of athletes. Yeah.
Wow. At least there were some good results there. There's an issue about not preparing for retirement. And this is an issue that happens to all of us, not just sport,
Yes.
but we'll stick it to sport. So you're playing and there's love, you're in that community. And then when it comes over to cross the other side, perhaps you're not ready. How do you prepare such an athlete? I know you're not retired yet, but you have an idea. How does an athlete prepare, even when they're still playing now, that this is going to end and they'll need to face another world mentally?
Okay, I want to start by saying that to most of us, the athletes, the best thing we know in this life is, for example, I'm a footballer. So the best thing I know is to just kick the ball.
Okay.
And then most of the time we don't focus or think so much about the life after my active playing days,
Which is short.
which is very short.
Yeah.
Because a footballer's career, an active career, it is very, very short. Because me, I tend to try to compare myself to my other colleagues that are working in different sectors. And I'm like, by the time I will retire from playing, the person that I've studied with is in the rightful age of maybe being a manager, being maybe an assistant manager somewhere, and all those things. But then me, I'm retiring from active playing. Shall I have maybe acquired this lots of money to invest, and then maybe catch up with them? I mean, what am I thinking about? Like the life after playing. So for most of us footballers, we don't think in that line. Most of the time we think that, hey, I'm going to play, I receive money, I receive bonuses, and we tend to think that we are going to receive such money
Forever.
like for life, yeah, forever.
Yeah.
But yet in reality, I mean, most of the time we hate the reality check as footballers. And most of the time we wear false masks. We want to show people that we are well off, yet at times we are not. We want to show people that we are glittering stars on and off the pitch, yet at times in reality it's not the truth. At times we are not so humble as individuals. So even somebody that maybe would have rendered a hand, I mean, they're seeing you're not a humble guy, you're not disciplined, so they're also going to reserve themselves. So for us, the footballers, and for all the athletes out there is need for us to think about the life after playing the sport. And in my own opinion, I always cry out to the young or the student athletes to focus on studying as well as balancing with sport. Because here I am, Joshua. Like, I'm a community psychologist and I'm a professional footballer. Trust me, and I'm not saying this to brag, but the truth is that me, I'm not worried of my life after football. And I can say this on any day. Me, I'm not worried. Why? Because I strongly believe I have a fallback plan. Yes, at least I have my qualifications. I've at least studied. With a number of friends that I've made from playing alone, they can at least push me to something because at least I have a qualification. But then I'm looking at my other colleague that is looking at soccer alone and at least not having so much of a fallback plan. What is going to happen after? Are you going to become a coach? And of late, coaching is also tough.
Yeah, very.
Because coaches go to school.
Yeah.
Coaches go for courses. Kidsmen go for courses. Each and everything there is now. Course, studying, those things. So I strongly believe that to calm this down, it has to start with, I think, with a grassroots to encourage these people to go to school. That is one. To encourage the student athletes to balance up with academics and sport, because these two things are both important. Yeah. And then thirdly, at least to have managers, honestly, managers that are genuine, because along the way, as we are still active, we earn something. At times we get sign-on fees. At times, and those are also termed as contracting fees. We get salaries. You know, if you maybe because the fact that the game that we play, the soccer that we play, consumes most of our time, and then the fact that most of the time we entangled on just playing and playing alone. So this limits us from maybe getting other opportunities in the different sectors. Let's say the business sector, and it's maybe hard for somebody to invest into something that they don't know about. You can't tell me, Joshua, to start up a boutique because I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't really know how it works. But then I'm looking at maybe having a manager that knows of how a boutique operates. It's like maybe me entrusting me with my money, and then they open up a boutique. I gain out of the boutique, actually, without even pushing a hand into that venture, you know. But then the problem comes in us. We at times lack the financial literacy, and then we at times invest poorly. I mean, there's a phrase in Uganda that says zavugiddewa, and for most of us footballers, tugenda nnyo gye zivugidde, you know.
Yes.
We at times hook up and then have a few chats here and there. If mudala gwa chapati gwe gukola, like you want to invest in that line, ogamba akatukole chapati. Before you know it, it flops. Agamba tugule border. You buy a judge, it flops, you know. But that is all due to lack of maybe proper investment strategies and proper investment plans. But these can only be guided by maybe having a manager, or if not, taking us maybe through programs that are in that line. But honestly, me, I'm thankful to my club in URA because many times they bring us people to come and actually talk to us, speak about NSSF, because I remember there was a time when NSSF came, and it came with a very huge panel of people that guided us in different ways, the financial literacy, how to invest our money, how to do our savings, and all those things. And maybe the URA players might be having that knowledge. But then how about
The rest.
the rest?
Yeah.
So there is honestly a call for, I don't know, government, different entities to come and honestly help us as athletes, because we literally lack those things. And preparing for the life after sport, because we are stars, honestly, we are stars, and we would love to continue being stars and then thriving even after active playing. And this can only happen when you have a huge financial muscle. And this happens with proper investment, with proper branding, and even furtherly getting endorsements after playing. But all that comes
Even during playing.
Even during playing.
Yeah.
And all that comes, of course, with a proper management and guidance.
Yeah.
So first thing is guiding us, and then studying, and then maybe seeking of the proper ways in investing our money.
Good stuff. At least you're on the right track.
Yeah.
All this that you do, Joshua, I think you need a strong backbone
Yeah.
to, stand and as you go on to do your business, both at community psychology and the club.
Yeah.
Who is that pillar that makes sure you concentrate on what you're supposed to concentrate on, and they take care of everything back home?
Back home, first, I have my dear wife.
Okay.
She helps me a lot in that line. Secondly, like I told you, my family. For whatsoever thing that you do, I want to let you know, my family, you're accountable for it. Yeah. If you tell my parents that, you know what, mommy, this year I want to buy a plot of land, boss, you have to buy it.
Or else
You
just
want
shut
it,
up.
you want it or not.
Yeah.
So at home we sit every December
Okay.
as children,
Okay.
and then everybody starts telling people what you've done in that given year. Hey, if you've bought a sandal and it's for the year, it's okay.
It's the sandal that you
The
bought
sandal
that year.
that you're showing us that year. So that couch alone, it has
Very
always
nice.
helped me and it has always pushed me. And then growing up, they instilled in us a culture of openness at home. So like we are honestly open to even the stupidest thing at home. We can say it out before our parents because they instilled a culture of openness. And so that has helped us a lot. And yeah, and then I have a wife at home that is also accountable. I tell her, you know what? We need to do this. If she doesn't see me doing
What's her
that,
name?
she's Gloria Alice Namuga.
Gloria.
Yeah,
What does she do?
she's a nurse by profession. Yeah,
Community psychologist.
yeah, and a nurse.
And a nurse.
Wow,
That's a beautiful home.
sure.
Okay.
So I'm held accountable, yeah, for whatsoever thing that I do.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Do you want to tell us where you met the nurse?
at a nurse, I remember I met her in my Form 6 work.
Oh.
Yeah, still in the well.
We call them the high school sweethearts.
And actually, we are not in the same school.
Oh.
Yeah, but instead I studied with her sister. So,
Okay.
yeah, so her sister did that thing.
Her sister
Yeah.
did what you do at your age.
Surely, she
the
was
passing.
a midfielder.
Good
Yeah,
stuff.
she was a midfielder. Yeah,
The sister. Just tell the sister, good play in the midfield.
surely she did. And I always tell her that she's a wonderful midfielder.
And you have a beautiful gift.
Yeah.
You and your wife.
Yes, we do. We do.
Daughter.
Yes, our baby girl.
How old is she?
She turned 4 this year,
Okay.
7th March. Yeah.
Okay. That's the only
Yeah, that's the
child you
only
have so
child
far?
I have so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about community psychology. You're advocating for people's mental health and all. Because sometimes we care about people, but we don't care about ourselves. We go all the way for people and we forget us sometimes.
Yeah.
So who takes care of Joshua when Joshua is mentally unwell?
Who takes care of Joshua when Joshua is mentally unwell? Like I said, first, it's my family, my immediate family, and then my other family. Because, like I said, I grew up, I now have a wife and a child. So my wife and my child, they take care of me first. And then I proceed to my other family. Then after that, like I said, I have a very wonderful support system. And in it, I have my fellow professionals. Yes, sir. So I seek help from them. But then what comes first is my family and my immediate family. Yeah.
What perhaps also viewers might need to know is that you also face these things.
Yes, however much I'm a professional. But then, yes, I'm a community psychologist, yes.
Yes.
But I'm human first. I'm
Yes.
first a human
Yes.
before being a community psychologist. So, and like, humans hurt, humans cry. However much some people say men don't cry. But hey, men cry.
Yeah, they do.
So Andrew,
We do.
we do.
Yeah.
Please. In case of any challenge and you feel like crying,
Yeah.
please cry. Because at
Yeah.
times they tell us that crying is therapy. Yeah, so if it calls for crying, please shed some tears. You'll feel better.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
freedom has been granted by the
Surely.
community psychologist
Surely.
that it's normal to cry,
it
boys.
is really normal.
The injury, that career-ending, threatening injury, was one of your dark spots in your life, which you beat.
Yeah.
Your beautiful daughter. I don't know how to put this, but she does not hear.
Oh, yes.
She has a hearing impairment.
Yeah.
When did you first learn of this?
Oh, wow. In the events, when I'm speaking about my daughter,
Yeah.
first forward, I humble myself. Why? Because I really love her like to the dot because she's my blessing, trust me. And that's why I named her Blessing.
Oh, she's called Blessing.
She's Janelle Blessing Navagala.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember I'm one person that loves journaling. By journaling, it's simply writing down something. So, oh, like you're a happy parent. Yeah, you learn that. Yes, because I remember my dear wife gave birth to my lovely daughter when we were for camp. I remember we were for camp. Yeah, we were for beach soccer. And then, of course, I was on phone and I told the coaches that, you know what? Yeah, my wife is due. And then she's in the hospital. Please allow me have my phone.
Okay.
And allow me not to train for the morning session because I don't think I'll be in the best state to maybe train. Either I'll be so anxious, I'll be so happy, or anything. And so, by the grace of God, my dear wife delivered normally, and then we welcomed our lovely daughter. Yes, we raised her along the way, of course, by the grace of God. Around, I think around 8 months, as of course we monitor the developments of our baby. She's now crawling, sitting, those things. But then we're expecting a few mamas from her, maybe mama, papa, those things. And as parents, you shared a picture of how you want to raise your child. You're like, me, I was anxiously waiting for my baby calling me daddy. Always. Telling me daddy will come back with a hug. But then 8 months down the road, my baby is not speaking a word. She's not murmuring. She's not saying papa, Like I said, my wife is a nurse. So she tells me, you know what? Maybe we should, no, we first consulted our parents, both sides.
Yeah.
Then we were like, mami naye Jan like erinya tulisalako ne tumwita Jan nga tetumute nga like
Tayogera.
ta responding oluusi no kuba engalo bwoti ta responding. What could be the problem? Then our parents tell us, buli mwana alina enkula ye, please be patient. Mwana mumuveeko, be patient with her. Ayinza obanga ebintu byabikola mpola, That's how they told us. And of course, they have all the experience, they have raised us.
Yeah.
So, of course, we had to respect their opinion. And then we got patient. And then on her turning 1 year, and of course, when a baby, most babies, when they're 1 year, they can at least murmur out words. But then our baby girl wasn't murmuring out a word. And so, what we did, my wife, by then we had a music system, so she put on loud music, for us to, we had started now maybe thinking that maybe she has an impairment with hearing or what, but then we hadn't confirmed yet. So she was like, naye leero ngenda mugezesaako ne music aleekaana, mutuuze okumpi ne ku main bass ndabe oba anaakola ki.
Wow.
She put the loud music, but my baby girl wasn't turned.
Wow.
So I was like, what's the problem? The first thing we did is that we prayed. We're like, God, we don't know what to do, but please guide us on what we can do. So she told me, you know what, let's try out, we go to the hospital, and then maybe there are specialists called the ENT specialists. They might guide us on what to do, or we do some tests and then see of the best of which state our baby girl is in. So we went to St. Catherine because we were insured at St. Catherine. So we went, we saw the ENT specialist. And on the first procedures that she made, she told us that, you know what, from the first tests that I've made, it's as if her frequencies are too low. But then I can't confirm this now. Maybe let me refer you to Kampala Audiology so that they make thorough tests and then we get a confirmatory test and then we forge our way forward. So we went to Kampala Audiology and then we made the tests, the various tests. And one test that actually made me cry as a man was when they sedated the baby girl. You know, they sedated her and then, okay, to me, I told my wife that Mani Janela Alinga food day, you know. But then they sedated her and then they kept her there. And then they made all the tests, you know. So I told her maybe first excuse me for a moment. Yeah, I went out. I didn't call anybody, but then I told God, you know what, God? You always encourage us and tell us that you bless us with whatsoever that you bless us with. So whatsoever results that come out, I mean, I love my baby girl and yeah. So the results got out. They came out and then they told us that our girl is not here, that she has an impairment. And
Yeah.
I saw I had to pick up myself as a man, you know, because I had my wife in there, and of course a bit emotional. So I was like, hey, Joshua, now you've grown, you know. Those were some of the few thoughts that were coming over my head, and I'm like, I now have to stand in for both my girl and for my wife. Because like, you know, for the ladies, most of the time, when such issues arise, for us, most men, we tend to push the blame to the ladies. And then we are like, you know what, maybe it's because of that lady. But then I still got a second thought and I was like, if at all it's from our family, and then I'm judging somebody's child that it's on their side. So now what if? These were all thoughts coming in at that very moment. So I don't even recall how we got out of that hospital, honestly. I can't shed a clear picture of how we got out. But the only thing that I remember is that we got home with our baby girl. Of course, not in the proper state because they had sedated her. Of course, with a sheet of results showing us, and then we would read, and what killed my head was the profound bit, and it was written in capital letters and well bolded, that profoundly that she cannot hear. So I remember shouting at home and saying, God, this is not what I prayed for, you know. I don't blame myself for saying that, but I think it was just after emotions.
An outlet.
Yeah, just to
Yeah.
say it for just saying it.
Yeah.
So in the event, I had to call my parents and told them, you know what, mommy and daddy, yeah, we didn't tell you, but then we went to hospital, we made these tests. And as I was making all those calls, my wife was in the bedroom. Like, I'd never seen her cry the way she was crying that time. She was telling me, Simani, come on. Like, she was all lamenting. And you know. So I told her parents, and then they told me, you know what, Joshua? You know, but like, you know, as athletes, yes, we are humans, but then at times our jobs are so demanding.
Yeah.
And then at times, due to the fact that we hate being judged, we hate being called weak, you're raising a point that I need to get a break, and I may be asking for a mental break. I mean, it is even weird to people here in the country. Like,
Yeah.
they don't think it's even there. So mommy tells me, Joshua, why don't you ask for a break? My son, you're going to kill yourself. And honestly, I don't know how I was feeling then. So I went the following morning, thinking that I'm going to go straight up and then maybe talk to the coach, and then like I'd go to the Viga to go and do that. But then I found myself not telling the coach. Why? Because I felt it wasn't the best time for the coach to understand that my child has been maybe found when she's having an impairment. And like, these coaches, at times coach used to make a statement. For example, when they tell somebody of a given drill, and then those people are not responding properly, and then coach would be like, olinga atawulira, olinga kasiru,
Yeah.
So deep down my head, it would trigger something, and then I would pause a bit in the pitch, and then still get over it, and I'm like, okay. But now it is a morning. I'm thinking maybe I should talk to coach, but then the person I'm thinking of telling is uttering words that as if he's saying this to my very own child.
Yeah.
So that alone stopped me from maybe telling the coach about asking for the break and all those things. So I said, you know what? Let me be a man, which is honestly wrong because even men hurt, But I think it's the only phrase that I had then, and I was like, no, let me stand in, because if I'm not strong, then who is going to be strong for my people? I have a lovely daughter that I love and cherish. In whatsoever situation she's in, and hey, she's my child. Nobody is going to take care of my child, and I love her. So now, what's the way forward? Yeah, after training, I went, rang mom and told her, Mom, you know what? The best thing I can do is to maybe ask for a weekend break, come back home, at least talk to you. And Dad, maybe I'll feel a little bit relieved. Maybe seeing you physically. So I got my wife. So we went home. Mom told me, you know what, Joshua? Gloria is not in the best state. Like, my wife wasn't in the best state. So Mom told me, you know what? Let's take her to her mom. At least her mom understands her the best. So she accepted. We took her still to her mom. But then it was a little bit easy for her seeking for a leave at her workplace. But then it was a bit challenging, like how I narrated and how I would think a coach would take me for. So I came back, and there was a time quite a number of people realized my form had gone so down. And so those that were close, they were asking, Joshua Chichi, like, to training, those things. But then my form had gone down. But of course, I wasn't opening up to anybody. And of course, my brother knew about it, but he was in a different team. And thank God he also didn't disclose it to anyone. And I just want to let you know that it's actually today, like on this podcast, the game of life, that I've actually gathered the strength to talk about my daughter. Truth is that it didn't leave me in the best state. Then it affected my performance. But then, to cut the long story short, is that I thank God that we gathered the strength, because some of the things that scared me then, because now we are speaking about 4 years with our lovely daughter. I was thinking that my child will not go to school, because I didn't know of so many schools that would teach people like that. I was thinking that maybe my child cannot, because me always I've prayed to God that my child becomes a doctor, because it's what I wanted. Her mom is a nurse, so we had wanted our child to be a doctor. So, of course, through a few friends, they encouraged me. But even among those that encouraged me, some some were telling me, you know what, Joshua, oyo omukazi mukyawe ayiya ayinza oba nga alina ekisiraani, you know those things. But then these are also some of the people that were a bit close, you know. But so, like I said, ningamba, but okay, mukyawe naye, what happens? I mean, what happens? Omwana w'abandi wembeera nga, you know, wembeera nga nze alina obuzibu, you understand? So I was like, no, let me take this in. I had a prayer and I was like, God, I'm not leaving my wife because she has no problem. I love her and we love our baby girl. So I stood ground, and good enough, I had support from my family and my wife's family. Nobody amongst my family members advised me to mukyala wange, you know. They encouraged me, and then they told us that, you know what, omwana oyo agenda kubeera successful, ajja kusoma. She will turn out to be a very important person in this world. But honestly, I now thank God that okujjako nga nkugambye nti muwala wange tawulira, you cannot tell. She's a jolly baby, very loving, so caring, and by the grace of God, we are learning how to communicate with her. Yes, so of course, like I said, they had told us that we go for hearing aids. We tried them, they didn't work out, and so the other option that we had was to go for a cochlear implant. So for the cochlear implant, first it was very expensive because it was about 100 million Uganda shillings to have that surgery. And the money wasn't a problem because you would maybe raise a fundraising campaign for the people to help you out on maybe raising money for the child to have the surgery. But then when I inquired from various doctors, they told me that, you know what, that can work, but it's not 100% sure that your baby girl will hear. Now just imagine it happens and then she doesn't hear. What happens? So one doctor told me that, you know what, Joshua, I've heard of so many people that have such an impairment and have made it in life. They can study, they can be a doctor that you want her to be, they can be very wonderful citizens, so long as you give them the support. So I chose to take that side with my wife and with our family, consider taking her to like a school for the deaf.
Okay.
Yes, so first, before she turned out to be 4 years, we considered putting her in a normal school to just normalize the school and to normalize with the school and how to maybe associate with the different people and different pupils at school. And then after we took her to Mulago School for the deaf. Yeah.
Would you say you've gone over it now?
Honestly, because even speaking about it right now, at least it can show me that I went over it. And truth is that I can honestly tell each and everybody here, and there is even a lot of pressure right now. Yeah. And speaking about it right now, the truth is that I went over it. And so let me phrase even this in Uganda. Sejjusa era omwana wange mwagala ate nkimanyi naye akimanyi nti nomwagala era tumwagala nnyo. And trust me, she's a loving girl, she's a caring girl, And trust me, by the grace of God, she's turning out to be a doctor. If there is no deaf doctor, my baby girl is going to be the first deaf doctor.
Awesome.
She's a girl that knows that dad is a footballer.
Or she does know?
Yes.
Okay.
Because even if you're watching TV, she taps on me and then she shows me that dad is
TV.
there.
Well done.
And I thank God that we embraced it, accepted it, and then also chose to study and learn and understand the language that she understands, and that's sign language.
So you are learning, or you've already
So we enrolled
you and
because
and
that
mom.
school
Yeah.
has a program of teaching parents
Okay.
because we need to communicate with our daughter.
Yeah.
So we enrolled, yeah. And allow me say that we're enjoying, and then it's another language that we added to the language that we knew.
Wow. Joshua, thanks for sharing that story with the world, with us. You made me cry. It was quite emotional, but we are glad you shared it, and we are glad, most importantly, to know that you've embraced it, you've healed, and send our love to mom, to the girl, and continue doing the work that you're doing. I've also seen you doing a lot of community work, meeting several girls, speaking at communities. I think something you truly enjoy. Continue doing that.
Thank you.
The game of life has been honored, profoundly honored to have you, to have an active footballer who is also a community psychologist, who has also gone through some of the most testing moments. But at the end of the day, you've come out triumphant. You trust in God. All we can say is continue impacting society, and all will be well. Maybe as a parting shot, what's that one word you want to tell both your fellow players and the community in line of what you do?
My parting shots
Yeah.
to my fellow footballers. One is that there is nothing new under the sun. At least for a certain time, at least for a certain individual, they have encountered that one challenge that you're facing right now. So it is not new. Please normalize speaking up, because through speaking up, you're going to get the help that you need. So to us, the athletes, it's not right to man up. It's not right for us to think that we are stars, we don't hurt. It's not right to think that society is seeing us. How is society going to see us? How society is going to call us weak. Instead, by you speaking up, that's strength. And that shows you that you're a strong athlete. So let's normalize speaking up, and let's normalize these conversations in line with athletes' mental well-being. So a problem solved is a problem, a problem shared
Is a problem
is a problem solved. So to athletes, let's consider speaking up. And then to society, and then to the people out there that are not athletes, let's really understand these athletes. Let's not judge them so much, because they are humans as you are. Let's listen to them without judgment, and let's help them without judgment. Just form a conducive environment for them, because they go through a lot. Some, it is hard for them to explain, but then if you give them an ear, they will open up. They only need a safe space for them to open up. So I can only call out for all of you to be a safe place for the athletes to open up. I want to thank the Game of Life, because like I said, I felt it was a safe place for me to share about my lovely daughter.
Yeah.
So this alone, there could be a parent out there who is having a daughter like mine that is thinking that they are only alone. It's not a ditch. It's not a what. Love that child. Make sure at least you provide a future for that child.
Yeah.
Love them and learn the language that they understand most, because they need you and you also need them. So thank you very much, The Game of Life. It's really been an honor. I'm so humbled. I can't wait
To watch it.
have myself back here again and then
Sure.
to watch this wonderful podcast.
Joshua Lubwama.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
We are very happy and honored. And for you to share your story right here, that makes us grow richer, but also share the message more. We're sure we'll have you back.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
It's been a pleasure. Continue playing the game of life.
Yeah.
And to you, the viewer and supporter of the game of life, thank you so much for giving us your time, for watching us, for sharing this. It's because of you that we continue growing. And for those of you who enjoyed these episodes but have not subscribed yet, please support us by subscribing, because that way you actually empower us to bring more quality stories, more human stories, and more great guests like Joshua Lubwama. See you at the next one.